Clean Earth Future presents Climate Cooldown. Climate Cooldown is a co-op game for 2 to 4 players where they must save the planet. Players work together to cool down the global and impact meters with cooldowns, sustainable power, and divesting from unsustainable power, all while being faced with disaster after disaster. You win by having all the following completed. Every region must divest from one unsustainable power. However, before a region can divest, they must first invest in 2 sustainable power cards. Collectively, the globe must have 5 ocean tokens and 6 land tokens to win. Then, once the global and impact meters are in the blue, the game is won. How to play? There are 2 meters in this game. The global meter, which is the temperature of the planet, and the impact meter, the immediate impact from all the regions of the globe. At the end of each round, take the total from the impact meter and add or subtract it to the global meter. If the global meter reaches 30 at any time, it's game over. At the beginning of each round, all regions draw their resource cards based on the start points for their regions. Next, all players roll the die. The highest starts. Moving clockwise, each region draws a disaster card and takes on its effects. After the global upkeep, each region has its turn. During your turn, you may buy items from the bank. We need cooldown cards in order to cool down the impact and global meters, and to restore the health of the ocean and the land. When you draw a card that gives you a resource token, you will draw more of that resource each round. If you draw a disaster that subtracts a resource, then remove a resource token, or place the resource token on the other side for a negative. At any time during a region's turn, they are able to freely trade with other regions. For example, you could offer 2 water resource cards to other players in hopes of receiving 2 energy resource cards you need. Or, if no one wants to trade, you can always exchange 4 of one resource for 1 different resource with the card bank. When you buy a power card, there's a possibility to draw a sustainable or unsustainable power card. Each region must buy 2 sustainable power cards before it can divest from an unsustainable power card type that it has. If a region buys a new unsustainable power card type, this becomes another unsustainable type that they can choose to divest from. Once you have 2 sustainable power cards, your region can pay to divest from an unsustainable, such as petroleum. When you divest, move the unsustainable card or cards to your region's divestment slot on the world map. If you divest from an unsustainable power and have more than 1 card of that type, include the effects for divesting from each of the cards. Buy a diplomacy tile for another region, and then you're able to donate up to 2 resources during your region's turn, and donate up to 2 resources during their region's turn. At the end of each round, check every region for remaining food cards. Any left over are returned to the food resource pile and increase the global meter +1 for each food wasted. Next, add or subtract the total of the impact meter to the global meter. Lastly, check the requirements to win sheet to see if the land and ocean requirements have been met for the current round. If the requirements haven't been met, then take on the negative effects for the current round. Although this is a cooperative game, you can play competitively by tallying your cooldown score for each region at the end of the game. The region with the highest score gets the Chill Champ tile. See the backside of the Chill Champ tile for details on how to count points for a region. Ready to play? Place the world map game board. Place the resource card piles nearby. Shuffle and place the cooldown and disaster card decks nearby. Place the diplomacy tiles, resource tokens, ocean tokens, and land tokens nearby or keep them in the tokens box. Place the global and impact meter tokens to their start positions. Place the round token to round 1. Based on where you're sitting and how many players there are, choose your regions. Each player must roll the die for their region or regions and then draw a corresponding unsustainable power card from the power card deck. 1 to 2 is natural gas, 3 to 4, petroleum, 5 to 6 is coal. Place this card on your region's unsustainable power card slot. After all regions have an unsustainable, shuffle the power card deck and place it nearby. Cool down the planet before it gets too hot, bringing both the impact and global meters into the blue. You're now ready to play.